Here we go into the Week 6 matchup. We got the 4-1 Baltimore Ravens coming to Philly to take on the 1-3-1 Philadelphia Eagles. The last time the Eagles had a home game, there were no fans. This Sunday, there will be some fans. Now, will that help us? Let's talk about it. What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, and this right here is the Philly Talk Podcast. If you are new to the channel and love talking Philly sports every single day, go right ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure you turn on post notifications so you know when I go live or drop some content. It's the little bell by the subscribe button. On that note, if you believe at home with the crowd, the Philadelphia Eagles have a chance to upset the Baltimore Ravens, or at least come out, play good football, and keep it close, smash that like button. With all that being said, let's jump into today's topic, which is the Eagles versus Ravens preview. So like I said in the opener, the Philadelphia Eagles get their first home game of the NFL season where there will actually be fans. Now, will that help a struggling defense out? Maybe on some third downs, the noise gets the Eagles fired up and we get a sack. We get it incomplete. Maybe we know how to tackle on third down with the limited amount of fans that will be in the link on Sunday. I don't know, but we will talk about all that and more. But you know what we like to do before we get into the actual preview where it goes Eagles versus Ravens. Let's break down some of the Ravens plays. I got one play on offense I really want to go over and one play on defense. Now, they don't do the same thing, but this is a staple of their offense and a staple of their defense. And we're going to see these type of looks all through the game. So we got to prepare for that. Roll the tape. On this play, they got the tight end in motion, and this is a staple of their offense. They do this formation and run many plays out of it. This ain't the play they run, but in this formation with a fullback and a tight end, they could run the ball with Mark Ingram, or they could change it to a RPO where they fake to Ingram and Lamar Jackson runs the other way, getting the linebackers to follow the blockers, or they could even pass out of this, throwing Ingram into the flats, using the guy up top to do a go route, guy on the bottom to do a post route, and a tight end to do like a 5 and out. They do so many different things out of the same formation, which makes it tricky to game plan for them. Now, this is what they actually did. A wide receiver reverse, a trick play out of this formation, and we know how the Eagles been defending jet sweeps and wide receiver reverses. Devin Duvernay, the rookie out of Texas, just takes this for a nice gain. But the Eagles got to watch this because we've been horrible against this type play. But look, the linebackers cramp up, tighten up like it's a run, and look how fooled they are. Everybody goes there. The guy I'm pointing out with the arrow can't even see him, and both linebackers and the safety bite on it, and Devin Duvernay is off to the races. We have to be prepared for all type of runs against us. Now let's switch over to the defense where they do a lot of different looks. The guy who's showing blitz is going to bail out and actually be the deep safety. You wouldn't think that. The deep safety is going to come up and watch the right side of the field, my right side, the defense's right side. And the two cornerbacks at the top and bottom are going to just drop back in the zone. And you're going to see the two linebackers who are at the line of scrimmage looking like they're going to blitz, drop back in the zone. And the cornerback D in the slot and the cornerback on the top of the screen is going to blitz. And it just confuses them for a second, and it's an easy sack. Now, they won't do a play like this all the time, but they do love to switch it up, do different stunts, move people around, and try to confuse the opposing quarterback. We just got to pay attention to this defense and play smart, sound football. No turnovers. As you can see, this team is 4-1 for a reason. It's not a mistake that they started 4-1 and their only loss came against the Kansas City Chiefs. But in that game, they played a lot of man and they blitzed Lamar Jackson. Now, I don't know if we got the firepower on offense or defense to do that, but we're going to go ahead and break down what the Eagles got to do to get this win. Is it impossible? No. Is it going to be hard? Yes. But if we can play tough in the run game, discipline in the run game, and do your assignment, we might have an opportunity to slow down Lamar Jackson, Mark Ingram, and J.K. Dobbins' run game. And if you do that, the passing game will suffer with it because they do everything off play action and off Lamar's legs. Now, he has been staying in the pocket and throwing a little bit more, but that again is because of the threat of his legs. You take that away and it changed the complexion of this game. So let's start with Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens offense versus the Philadelphia Eagles defense. And the first thing we got to do is contain Lamar Jackson, contain his legs. The defensive ends can get up the field to get a sack, but they got to be aware that Lamar Jackson is going to try to break the pocket, get out of the pocket, use his arm and his legs. And also, there's going to be times where he steps up in the pocket and tries to scramble for yards as well. And that's where a spy will come in handy. And no way, no how can we have Nathan Gary spying Lamar Jackson. But there is a guy who's coming back in the secondary who plays linebacker, slot corner, safety. He does all that stuff, and that is Will Parks, suiting up in his first game for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's a big physical guy. He can play that outside linebacker role and big nickel and maybe shadow or spy Lamar Jackson. If they end up putting a tight end in the slot like Mark Andrews, he can match up against a bigger tight end, something that Nikel Roby-Coleman and even Avonte Maddox can't do when he comes back. And even Cravion LeBlanc, they play in the slot, and if you match him up on there, it's better than Nathan Gary, but Will Parks matches up better with his physicality. So I like the coverage we're going to get from Will Parks in the middle of the field, possibly spying Lamar Jackson, using him on a blitz or two if Jim Schwartz does that, and stuff of that sort. Now, one thing that does concern me about Will Parks coming back is how is his fatigue level? Will he be tired? Will he be a little out of shape? Will that injury come back and hamper him? How much of a workload are we even going to give him? And that's the question marks for a guy like Will Parks who's coming off an injury and could be out of shape. But we'll have to wait and see. But we have to watch Lamar Jackson and make him be as much of a passer as we can make him. Now, when we look at his targets, we talked about Mark Andrews, who I like that matchup, like I said, with Will Parks. But he throws the ball to Mark Andrews in the tight end almost as much as Carson Wentz threw the ball to Zach Ertz that year that Zach Ertz broke all them records. However, he does have some new toys to throw to. We know Hollywood Brown is there and he's healthy, and they got a guy, Devin Duvernay, out of Texas, who I was big on. I did a video about him. Shout out to Gate City for not liking him and then coming around and liking him. This guy is lightning in a bottle coming out the slot. And we saw in the clip I showed you, that was Devin Duvernay who did the wide receiver reverse. Now, we all know one of the Eagles' huge weaknesses, no matter what Jim Schwartz says, is the jet motions, the wide receiver reverses. The Rams killed us on it for like 60 plus yards. The Niners killed us with a rookie, Brandon Ayuk, and so did the Pittsburgh Steelers. They all had huge chunk plays. Don't let him downplay it. We stopped the run. Yes, we do. The numbers don't look like we stopped the run because the Rams wide receivers killed us on the ground. The Niners wide receivers killed us on the ground, and so did the Steelers. But the running game itself, actually running backs, haven't been able to really get much on the Philadelphia Eagles, so the numbers are skewed. But we got to stop that. This is another team who will show multiple fronts. That's why I showed you all them plays, because the Ravens will come out in a formation that could be a run, a pass, or a trick play, because they do a lot of jumbo packages and they can throw for him because of how much they use their tight end. So in that package, you really don't know if Lamar's going to run it. Mark Ingram can run the ball. They can pass from this formation or do, like you saw, a wide receiver reverse. This packages they got that are going to look the same. They're going to come out in the same packages and do different plays from them. And that's what makes them so deadly when you look at them just from a personnel standpoint, because they throw to the tight ends. They got the speedsters on the outside, and they got a deadly running game. Simple and plain. So the defense for the Eagles is going to have to be disciplined. They're going to have to trust that the guy next to them is going to do their job, and they got to do their job. Simple and plain. Don't try to keep your eyes in the backfield and get caught. Don't try to over pursue on a run and get caught, because that's what's going to happen from this team. Now, they're not going to do the same lineup formation all the time. They will drop back in shotgun, 5 receiver sets, but they do want to establish the run and get down vertical, because once the run is established, you'll see linebackers and safeties creeping up to watch Mark Ingram and Lamar Jackson, and he'll try to get over the top. And he's not going to be afraid to use his tight ends, Mark Andrews, and guys like Duvernay across the middle. So, I mean, the wide receiver reverse is something the Eagles get hit with a lot, so we got to prepare for that, because they're probably going to attempt not just one, but maybe two on us. But the RPO, Lamar keeping it and running, we can get gashed for a big gain if we don't play disciplined football and keep your eyes to yourself when it comes to trying to creep in the backfield looking. Play your role, do your responsibility, and that's it. I'm going to need the secondary to step up. Simple and plain. Jalen Mills was getting cooked by the Steelers. I think the Steelers have better wide receivers, even though Hollywood Brown and Duvernay and them guys are not too bad. We're going to need a bounce back game from Jalen Mills. Luckily, Darius Slay is going to play. I mean, he passes a concussion protocol, so we're going to get big play Slay back. I like what Ronnie McLeod's been doing. Hopefully, Will Parks energizes this linebacker position, especially if we play big nickel and he stays in that area most of the time. But I just think we need a bounce back game. I want Jim Schwartz to play his guys, especially big play Slay, closer to the line of scrimmage. And when they play bump and run coverage, bump and run. Hollywood Brown is a smaller receiver. He's fast, but you can get physical and get him out of his element. We're going to need to see that. And Jim Schwartz, I know it's dangerous to blitz Lamar Jackson, because if he finds one crease, he's gone. But you have to have timely blitzes in this game, because what the Chiefs did were play man against their corners, blitz him, and it frustrated Lamar. I see this year so far, Lamar has been willing to stay in the pocket and try to make a play with his arm. He hasn't been as run first as he's always been. Now, on design run plays, of course he runs. But when he drops back, he has been more willing to stay there and look for the open guy. And that's when the Eagles' defensive line normally feasts. When you play a guy who, Big Ben, normally does the same thing, but he read the scouting report and got the ball out of his hands quick, it takes our defensive line out the game. And sometimes our corner play is so bad, our linebacker play is so bad, a guy who normally holds the ball doesn't hold the ball against the Eagles, which kind of shuts down the best part of our defense, which is the D-line. No D-line can get sacks if the ball is out of the opposing quarterback's hands as quick as Big Ben was doing it sometimes last week. So we have to make Lamar hold the ball and try to have him beat us as a passer. Let's switch it over to the Eagles offense versus the Ravens defense, which to me is so underrated. I mean, they got a bunch of ballers on there. They added Calais Campbell, Jimmy Smith, who was a corner for them, moved to safety. Marlon Humphrey, a lockdown corner who just got paid. They got a lot of guys on this team, and they play hard football, simple and plain. And they always moving around the formation. Like I said, Jimmy Smith is playing safety, but in certain packages, he plays slot corner. You got a guy like Marlon Humphrey who locks out the outside receiver, but who'll come in to the slot and blitz. You got guys who will play on the D-line on the left side and then move to the right side. They move guys around so much in different packages, so you definitely got to pay attention to that. Like I showed you on that play, that's a staple of their defense, just trying to confuse the opposing quarterback. Showing blitz and then dropping your linebackers in coverage and blitzing your corners. These are things that they do all the time. Stunts, wrinkles, and it can confuse a guy who already has 9 interceptions on the season. So I'm going to need Carson Wentz to really pay attention to this defense, look at the line of scrimmage, feel it out, get to your hot routes, get to your check downs, and make sure we max protect in certain times, especially with Jamon Brown getting a start for Matt Pryor, which he really can't do any worse. I need Carson Wentz to take care of the ball when it comes to fumbling and throwing picks in this game, because if we turn the ball over to a team who can put up 35, well, then they might put up 50 on the Philadelphia Eagles if we don't take care of the ball. And like I said, be careful at the line of scrimmage and make sure you know where your checkdowns and your hot routes are to get the ball out quickly in situations like that. Now, when it comes to the Eagles receivers, it looks like we're going to get Djax back. I do believe Alshon is still going to be out, so you'll have Djax, TF13, John Hightower, Greg Ward Jr., and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. I think the focal point got to be Deshaun Jackson at the Y, TF13 at the X, and John Hightower in the slot mixed in with Greg Ward Jr. and use J.J. Arcega-Whiteside if somebody gets tired. But I think we also got to start using Zach Ertz a little bit more. I know he's been playing horrible, and I know he's been having an attitude. But when you get him involved, teams start to focus on him more, which is going to open it up for the receivers. And for the love of God, run the ball with Miles Sanders. Now, if Baltimore keeps stopping the run, well, then get Miles Sanders involved in another way. Use him on wheel routes. Use him out in the flats. Use him in some screens to slow down the pass rush. Put him out at wide out. Use him in the slot. Do different things with him. We're talking about a rookie that caught deep ball against the Lions, a deep ball against the Vikings, nice pass against the Washington football team, all in his rookie season, and we haven't used him in the passing game the same way. You got to be creative with your best player, because when the ball's in his hands, special things happen. And if we can get some easy dump-offs, it's going to help Carson Wentz when he's going against this defense. Now, they're not going to show these type of looks every single time on defense, but we got to be aware of them, and we got to decipher that. That's why I don't like it, and I do like the empty back set 5 receivers, which is not really 5 because we have a tight end out there. But when he lines up with 5 pass catchers in an empty back set, you know there's no run. But one of them guys should be Miles Sanders, which will be a staple of the run game, especially if you get him on a little slant, he catch it and do Miles Sanders type things. But when you spread out like that, the defense has to show their hand. They got to show if they're in the zone. They got to show if they're in man. They got to show who's really blitzing, because if they don't, someone's going to be lined up with no guy on them. So they either got to go to them or they got to stay in their blitz lane, which Carson can then say, he's blitzing, hot read, go, get it. So I think we still got to do that, especially with this offensive line. It will help Carson make quick decisions. As you've seen throughout this year so far, when he's in the empty back sets, that's when he gets the ball out of his hands probably the quickest. So we're going to need to see some of that and just be creative. And at the end of the day, take care of the ball. I'm talking about everybody on offense. If we do that and play good defense, the crowd gets going at the link, there is a slight chance we can come away with an upset. You guys know it's any given Sunday. And if we can get Lamar to struggle, we might be able to sneak one away. I think the offense really got to just get Miles Sanders involved. Straight up. We saw TF13 have big games, but we're going to continue throwing at him. But we still got to get Miles Sanders involved. 11 touches in the run game. I think 2 or 3 in the pass game. That's not enough for a guy who is probably, other than the emergence of TF13, the best player on your team. And Zach Ertz, he's not done. He's not going to probably be around here much longer, but while he's here, we have to make sure we got to get him involved. And it starts with number 86 just coming to the team and saying, listen, I'm putting everything I got to the side. Let's play football. Simple and plain. On that note, I haven't been predicting the game. We got a W. I didn't predict the next one. We got a loss. So that streak is over. I'm going to predict the score being 27 Philadelphia to 24 Baltimore. Close game. Again, I'm an Eagle fan. I'm biased. If we win, that's how we do it. 27-24 Philadelphia. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about the Ravens defense, the Ravens offense, how you think we can slow them down and score on them. And at the end, let me know your final score prediction for this Week 6 matchup at the link where there will be some fans. On that note, you guys know how I end this. Until next time, you know what time it is. We out.